Welcome to the Integrity Legal Network.
My name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok. Well, actually, here right now, we're in Pattaya, Thailand, down here at our annex.
This
Actually, real quick to preface on this video, a lot of people have been asking us, okay, you said you were opening an office down in Pattaya. Yeah, we do. And I actually have facilities down here now where I can meet with people if necessary. Andrew can as well.
sure.
And he's kind of running point for me down here. But yeah, I almost view that we have never taken walk-ins, that at least not in the
Right.
last decade. So this office is more of an annex, but it is here. We're right behind Thai immigration. We have a lot to do down here for various reasons. So yeah, we're down here, but you got to go through our email effectively to schedule an appointment with either myself or Andrew as a if you want to go ahead and set up an appointment down here. Yes, we can meet you in Pattaya. Generally speaking, I'm down here in the latter half of the week, depending on Andrew's schedule. He may be down here at the beginning of the week. But yeah, we can meet you here. And but it's kind of more or less of a sort of annex, if you will. It's not so much like a big, fancy office. Quite honestly, wiser man once told me, and somebody I really learned from in terms of being an attorney and the legal service business once told me, he said, clients walk into a big fancy office and they wonder where they're spending their money. Are they putting it on the walls or are you just getting legal work done? I've always kind of operated on that presumption. So again, it's not the most fancy thing you've ever seen, but it is here, and we are able to help people down here in the Chonburi and Eastern Economic Corridor area. So without further ado,
Sure, we're going into Amity Treaty and Work Authorization.
Amity Treaty and Work Authorization. So this is a misnomer that I have been dealing with. Oh gosh, I'm sure Kari remembers. This feels like about 6-7 years. This was
an old one, historic.
Yeah, this is one that goes back in like the first year of the channel. This started coming up. So okay, whatever it was, 8 years ago, there was a revision to Thai law regarding work authorization for certain corporate actions occurring in Thailand. What are we talking about? So shareholders, for example, attending shareholder meetings. Sometimes they need to sign things, most notably documentation that they, have actually attended shareholder meetings. Director meetings as well. Directors on a yearly basis are also going to have to sign certain things having to do with tax filings on a regular basis. In the past, there was a very strict interpretation of the definition of work in Thailand, and it stipulated that in order to undertake basic functions of a corporation, you didn't necessarily need to have a work permit. Now, why did they change this? It was primarily because like international corporations, especially regional ones, where they would have like a Singapore head office or a Hong Kong head office or even a Malaysia head office, and then they'd have a subsidiary here in Thailand. But that guy that's actually running Malaysia, he may also be the managing director of the Thailand operation. That guy is not here, or gal for that matter. That guy is not here. That person is not here on a regular basis. They're in the region. They're kind of wandering around, okay?
Mhm.
Or they're in some other place. But in the past, you had to have that guy work permitted up for him to just fly in to like sign one document
Right.
and sit through 1 hour meeting
Right.
maybe once a year, and then you send him on home. So what the Labor Department did, if I recall, this occurred shortly after the emergency decree of 2018. Well, it solidified up after 2018. But prior to that, we saw some tweaking changes to work authorization rules where they started saying, and it really went firm again in 2018. But basically, they said, look, for these corporate activities like a director's meeting or a shareholders meeting, we're not going to hold you to the strict need to have a work permit. Again, you got to understand the function of this, why they did this. It was for the limited use, again, best example is a CEO flying in, sits through the mandatory meeting associated with the corporation, signs some documents, leaves. Okay. That person may not necessarily, again, everything is circumstantially dependent, but in that narrow fact pattern, that person doesn't need a work permit.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, the misnomer we were talking about that I have seen regarding Amity certification has to do with national treatment. And what people will say is, "Oh, I'm going to come into Thailand and get a sole proprietorship, and then or I have a company in Thailand and it's Amity certified, therefore I don't need a work permit. That's not true. Okay, first off, let's talk sole proprietorships. As a practical matter, they phased that out years back. I know there's going to be some people that tell me, oh, well, I've got one and blah, blah, blah. There are limited circumstances I've seen sole proprietorships done with Amity certification. I got to tell you, it's sort of like mixing financials in a retirement visa context. It's this sort of infinite unicorn you hear people talking about, but I've never seen it practically occur. The long story short is, though, people have this misnomer regarding the Amity company that you're working for is what is certified. It's not you, the person. Okay. Now, a sole proprietorship could be Amity certified as well, but that does not negate the need for a work permit. And then people say, well, we're supposed to be granted national treatment. Yeah. And it's a reciprocal agreement between us and Thailand. Thais are not allowed to just work in the United States. They have to have work authorization as well. You can't fly into the United States on a B1, B2 visa and before people say, well, our business visas are all work authorized. The B1 isn't. The B1 doesn't have work authorization.
That's what the most common one that a Thai would come in on.
Well, it's A1 that a Thai would come in on. But what I'm saying is you can't just travel in necessarily on just a non-immigrant visa to the United States and just get and have inherent work authorization.
Correct.
So we treat Thai nationals that way in the United States. Thais treat us like they'd be treated over there.
Right. We're each granted treatment.
Right. Yeah. We're the national treatment pertains to the corporation.
Yes.
Whatever the business concern is. The work authorization, just because you're Amity certified on a company, doesn't mean you personally are Thai.
Right.
You're still a foreigner in Thailand for purposes of work authorization.
It's kind of Citizens United-ish. The corporation is its thing, you're its thing.
Yeah, no, it's two different things.
Yeah,
there's the company and then there's you.
Yeah.
Now, the misconception we see is people saying, oh, because they changed the work authorization rules regarding attendance of shareholder meeting and director meetings, for example, that means I don't need work authorization to work in a Thai company. Not true. The definition of work still stands.
Even to be just a supervisor, manager, director, you still need work authorization.
As I've discussed in my video on the definition of work in Thailand, breathing is work in Thailand. Okay. They made these specific exemptions from work authorization for these specific corporate functions inside of a company. Right. Precisely for the reason I told you. It's not for the person that's actually here operating their business. It's for somebody that it's for an international corporation where somebody has to fly in and deal with the corporate formalities, if you will, and they don't need work authorization exclusively for that. But a bunch of people this happened a bunch in the past. Apparently this meme is cropping back up, and I wanted to make this video to dispel it because it's not accurate. You still need work authorization, regardless of Amity certification. You personally, the person, remain a foreigner. It's just for doing business, you're treated as if you are a Thai.
Right.
A Thai can't go to the United States.
For the limited purposes that are authorized for work authorization.
Right. A Thai could, in theory, go to the United States and set up a sole proprietorship. Doesn't mean they're legal to work.
Right.
Just like you can come over here and set up a sole proprietorship doesn't mean you're legal to work. And in most of those scenarios, at least in Thailand, they won't issue you a work permit because they want to issue that to a sponsoring corporation with you as the beneficiary.
Correct.
Effective. Well, that's how it used to be. Now it kind of more attaches to you. Neither here nor there. The corporation is not you, the person. You don't have an inherent right to a work permit.
Right.
So again, this conflation of these terms like, oh, well, I have national treatment. Yeah, the company is treated as if it was Thai, so you can own it outright.
Right.
But you're still a foreigner. You still have to have a work permit in order to work here.
Right.
So a lot of people really have a misconception about how that all operates.
Otherwise, you've just got a corporation with,
Right. You've just got a naked you've just got a naked corporate entity. It's sitting there. Yes, you can attend the shareholder meetings. Same context, even with sole proprietorship. yeah, okay, you have a tax ID number, but you don't have the right to work.
Correct.
So you need to get the work permit, which on a sole prop, in my experience in 15 years, I've never seen it done because they can't issue it to you directly. They want to issue it through a corporation so that then they have a job description to put you into the corporation as working there. There are also requirements regarding ratios of Thai employees. Not going to get into that in this video, but long story short, there's this conflation out there between national treatment for purposes of corporate entities doing business in Thailand versus actual physical humans who happen to be Americans operating here in the Kingdom of Thailand.